I really believe that bootstrapping is a process where every founder or every founder to be must go through.
Well, Tony Fernandez at my age, at 40 years old, he already start asking money for hundreds of millions, and I'm just asking for a few millions. It's still not a big deal for me.
I seriously love failure, and you cannot imagine how much I love failure. I look at failure as such a big blessing to me, you know. I am so thankful that when I fail, because it just means that I'm going to be so much better the next time.
If you have all the money in the world, if you have all the time in the world, what will you spend your time and your money to do?
Welcome to Linkedpreneur Stories. Welcome back again to Linkedpreneur Stories. Welcome to Linkedpreneur Stories. Welcome back to Linkedpreneur Stories. We are live. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to all of you, whichever part of the world you're tuning in. Tell us how your day was. Here I am, yet again, another episode with another fabulous guest today who have made it to the top, shared their expertise, their strength to just uplift everyone across the world. Today's episode is indeed a very, very, very special episode. Are you ready for it?
Hello, good afternoon, good morning, and good evening to some. Hello, guys, how are you? Yes, you find me in a different avatar today because today is a weekend and it's the beginning or the onset of the weekend which is happening today. And I'm actually going out for shopping today. Yes, but can I go in shopping in the lockdown or pandemic? I don't think so. So, yes, guys, very warm welcome to all of you guys on Linkedpreneur Stories, Season 2, Episode 54. And the topic or the theme of today's discussion is on retail to e-tail. Once again, a warm welcome from the entire team. But tell me, guys, I was kind of going back in the past while I was guys talking to you guys and thinking about how the experience was. I used to go out with my family on a nice Saturday or a Sunday morning, take all the bags with us, go across the whole superstore. We all three in the family, we used to be all in different corners of the retail stores, doing our own shopping, kind of coming up together, having the nice lunch, and then taking all the shopping bags with all the smiles back home, feeling that, yes, we've achieved something today. And that was an experience back in those days. But the pandemic, the lockdowns have changed completely. Also, the digital acceleration, which has changed the complete ecosystem. There is a complete paradigm shift in the whole e-commerce or retail industry. And that's what we are going to talk about it today. Retail to e-tail. And we got some two amazing speakers coming here with their great set of experience and going to talk on this subject with us today live on Linkedpreneur Stories Season 2, Episode 54. And before we get on the speakers, I'm sure you want to meet your host. And that's where let me share a few words about our host. She is the Asia's top 100 most influential youth marketing leaders. Also, who is an awarded entrepreneur and agency founder of Beyond 99, which is based in Malaysia. She is the 100 most inspirational LinkedIn icons twice in a row, guys, and has more than 13 years of experience in industry with growth and the marketing mindset. She was among the first few in Malaysia to get LinkedIn Live. And that's why we are presenting you with our show, Linkedpreneur Stories on LinkedIn Live. Let's put our hands together for Khushbu Nangalia.
Hi, Anil.
By any chance?
Hi, Anil. It's
Nice
wonderful.
to see you, Khushbu.
Absolutely. It's wonderful to be back again with yet another episode of Linkedpreneur Stories, where we are bringing business minds from across the globe to just share with us their stories, their challenges, and their expertise. I just feel like it's a master's degree every single week we are going through with our amazing group of people who have been there with us since the first lockdown. So, for Malaysians specifically, guys, and for my Indian friends, and from Singapore, I know the city and the countries have been almost walking into the third or the second phase of lockdown. We really hope you guys are taking care of yourself, people around, and as well as your family and friends. Because only if we can manage ourselves, I think the country will be a better place to be in very, very soon. So, with this, Anil, are we all ready to get started with Linkpreneur Stories?
Yes,
Let's
we all set to go. And today is a very, very interesting session, Kush.
Yes, I think it's exciting for multiple reasons. You know, we have never touched the topic, which is
Yes.
about retail and e-commerce, the online commerce and everything. So along the lines of the 54 episodes, how could we miss this one? I'm just thinking, but yes, this one gave us a whole new perception. And having two amazing people, one I know for almost years, as long as almost I have been in Malaysia, and the other, I think, is a dear friend to you as well.
Yes,
And
Kush.
indeed, maybe I know him for a short time, but after speaking to him, it just feels like we were like from the same country and can share so much of things in common. But yes, Anand, let's get it rolling for today, isn't it?
Of course. Let's go all out.
So, guys, are you all excited? First of all, as I'm asking you, tell me in the comment section which part of the world are you tuning in and where are you based right now? Today, right now, where are you based in the comment section? And I'm going to read your comments between, guys. I have to say, we are using the latest features of LinkedIn Live. And you might be wondering, Kush used to show comments and now she's not showing. Guys, my apologies. LinkedIn has yet to update its latest features of LinkedIn Live to be able to display comments. And I'm missing you guys as much as you are to be able to see the comments on screen. We're definitely going to crack out solutions. But as last discussed with the LinkedIn team, we are yet to get some solutions from them. But I just believe in one thing. Try till you succeed. And I'm sure we will find a solution to this, if not today, but in the coming episodes for sure, because we are missing you. I hope
But
you
yeah, and that does not mean, sorry, go ahead. I'm saying that does not mean that you're not watching your comments. We are definitely looking at all your comments and we will respond to them.
Right, absolutely. And with this, Anil, it's my pleasure to be able to get started on this journey of retail
To
or
e-tail.
retail. So thank you, Anil, for inviting me and for introducing me. Let's get started. Guys, it's about retail to e-tail. What is e-tail? Sounding a little technical? Guys, both words sounds really nice together, so we chose to put it as the topic. Let's be candid. But it cannot be started without we are telling you e-tail is nothing but your brick and mortar business going online with online commerce, whether it is to do with social media commerce or whether it is to do with marketplace or having your own e-commerce website. So much so that we wanted to talk with some of the experts who have been in the space for the longest period of time. And that's the reason why two people who are here with us today, let's bring it up for our first guest. My first guest for today is coming in from a jewelry brand which has been in Malaysia for more than 45 years. One of the top players, and indeed, they are the ones who moved to e-commerce about 9 years ago. Long time, guys. That time, not even Lazada and Shopee were well established, let's just say that. And that's when they moved in. We have my dearest friend, head of marketing, Elizabeth Chun from Pohkong Jewelers to join us and share her story, challenges, and insights on retail to e-tail. Welcome, Liz.
Hello, Kush. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
Lovely to see you today.
Likewise, you're looking beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you. Same to you.
So, Liz, as we get
Yes.
started on this interesting topic, which
Mm-hmm.
is tail from e-tail, we know that Pohkong has so many outlets spread across Malaysia. I'm sure, guys. Okay, guys, give me a Pohkong in the comment section if you have already visited Pohkong store. I'm sure you have. I can give Pohkong as a comment like 10 times already. Guys, put a hashtag Pohkong in the comment section if you have already visited Pohkong, especially for my friends in Malaysia. And for rest of the world, guys, Pohkong is a very well-established brand in Malaysia when it comes to jewelry. And jewelry as a product is not only consumer, but as well as luxury. Imagining jewelry to go through a complete process of shipping was a whole new thing.
Yes.
How was your experience with that, Liz?
Oh, it's actually more challenging than most products, I think. Actually, back in 2012, that was the first year where we launched e-commerce. There's one platform that is now no longer available in Malaysia that has approached us to partner together and launch the e-commerce. At that time, we were really skeptical because the courier services, logistics are not ready for e-commerce or online shipping of jewelry items, or would I say high value gold item. And through some challenges and some really good partners of logistics partners, we managed to go through all the challenges. We managed to get our products insured as well, and we get it kickstarted for the first time in 2012. And that was when I think, like what you said, most of the platforms are not really known yet at the time. Yeah.
Correct, absolutely. So many platforms, I'm sure they were there, and today we don't even know anything about them. Of course, we are going to cover a lot about the retail side of it. But Elizabeth, what about you? How did your journey get started with Pohkong and getting into the entire retail space? Share a little bit about that. It's been, right? Like more
Sorry?
than a decade. It's been
Yeah,
more than
more than a decade. It's just about 10 years. I started off working as a marketeer in digital electronics item. Is in camera side. After that, after a few years of that, I moved on to FMCG industry, working on skincare and hair care products. And at a time, I was also doing soul searching and thinking of venturing into another industry, and that's how I came to Pohkong, doing high value items, jewelry, luxury items. Yeah.
That's beautiful, because I think we all try to find ourselves and our calling at a given point of time. And I always believe that there's no age for it. You can just find it as early as teens, or as even the time when you are in the 40s, 50s, or later to that as well. Liz, now when we talk about retail, right? And that's where Pohkong has been. Moving down, of course, 8-9 years ago, we know Pohkong embarked the journey of getting into e-commerce business with some of the players at that point of time. How was the entire experience like for you? How was this brick and mortar adapting to this fast-moving time? And I want to first of all give a huge round of kudos to the entire Pohkong team, I must say, because you didn't wait for the current times to do something like this. It was long earlier that you had already adapted, and I'm sure the brand leveraged for it given the time we are in right now. But yes, share with us a little bit of how did you do that so that our consumers or users can also understand. Before you get started with that, let me tell to our audience, guys, we can ask questions to Liz as well. So Liz will also take a few audience questions. So if you have a question that you would love her to take care of, then this is your moment, guys. You can ask her. She comes with phenomenal marketing, digital, and as well as business marketing expertise. Ask me about it. And I've seen her thinking from one of the most unique spaces and rocking the campaigns for Pohkong almost every single year. So guys, if you have some questions, put it out in the comment section, and don't forget to click on the share button. You can't be selfish. Go all out, share this, let other also learn from our first guest Liz and also the next guest who's coming in. So guys, don't forget to hit the share button. Just all it takes for you is one click. So Liz, please.
Okay, sure, Kush. Actually, through the experience of working in other industry, which is quite fast moving, like digital electronics, we are quite exposed to the digital space. And when I came to Pohkong, yes, it is a 90 over outlets, the top jewelers in Malaysia. It has all the loyal customers visiting the outlets, and sales is not a problem at all. However, at the time, we started looking at trends where people are moving online, some of them, and also there are social. I think social media was also in a fast-moving pace at the time. So we realized that we need to nurture some new customers as well as getting onto the trend. It was actually difficult in the start, where of course nobody believes in online shopping with jewelry items. However, we get management support into trying out this initiative and investing into the infrastructure and the operation for us to try out something new. So at that time, we are very lucky as well as all these partners, logistic partners and e-commerce platform partner are very supportive as well to go through all the hurdles that jewelry retail like us face, especially trying to go online.
Yes.
We were having a very small team at the time as well, so we really have to work around it and trying to focus a lot on our retail, which is our biggest pie, and then put some time to look into the e-commerce side, which at the time did not really bring in much sales to us. It's very insignificant. So that's actually the biggest challenge, to convince the management that we want to continue this journey. However, we continue the effort using a very limited resources and learning through the process. And then slowly we see that more and more consumers are feeling very secure to go online and started to believe that, actually, we can visit Pohkong's outlet, and at the same time, for certain products, we can actually go online to shop as well. So from there, I think the key factor for consumers to believe in us is also the trust that we have already built for 45 years through the physical stores. The consumers are usually very skeptical when it comes to gold. They are very afraid of the authenticity of it. However, because we already built a brand out there, it is less challenging for brands like us to actually embark on an e-commerce compared to really a lot of new brands out there for this kind of item. Yes.
But then I think you're very humble when you say that. Of course, in 2012, when not many brands was doing that, and you have to not only break the norm, it's because the industry is not moving in that direction right now. And of course, investment is a lot more higher as compared to the return that's the company is facing at any given point of time. Now, today, when we make decisions, it's difficult to get our investors approved and everything, right? It's not an easy journey. However, culturally also, because a company which is 45 years, it is not a very smooth ride for everyone to adapt. I'm not saying how things would have been in 2012. I'm just talking about, let's just say, the year or two as well. They have adapted over the past few years, but how has that been a journey for you, or as a Pohkong leader, how has it been for everybody as when we talk about the cultural adaptation of this changing time?
It's actually very challenging for a culture that has been built on physical stores mindset for over 45 years to suddenly have to adapt something selling online. We actually had to talk a lot internal internally, especially with the departments like accounting, like our wholesale operations, and so on, and combine all this expertise into building the e-commerce together. I think at that time, we have to actually study everything and learn from scratch, like how do you pack a jewelry, how do you courier it securely to another person, and then how do you answer all the inquiries and so on. So our strategy at the time was we do not start our own online shop ourselves. We actually ride on the successful e-commerce platforms or e-commerce platforms that have already got all its infrastructure and also very good service that can like bring us along and actually help us a lot when there are issues arise. So I think finding a very good e-commerce partner is very important key factor, and as well as also always having the ROI in mind. Do not really invest a whole lot of investment into building our own online shop because it looks cool for your brand, but actually should really ride on someone who has already got the expertise and the traffics, and then learn from there and build from do the baby steps first so that everything goes more smoothly. Yeah, that was our strategy at the time.
Right, exactly. I think I was just about to ask you that what are the advice that you would give, and even before I did, you almost shared one of the biggest advice. So guys, if you're listening, embark on the largest marketplaces which are available for you, and do not go out investing too much of your capital money into building up the tech is something Liz is saying, and I completely agree with you, Liz, because these brands already have a strong positioning in the market, and users love to scroll through their data, their product list and everything, and when they experience it, they land up to your brand, which brings in an organic traffic which is unpaid for the brands towards the marketing side of it. So from marketing standpoint, Liz, your advice would make so much more value as well, because it brings in the tech budget towards marketing, isn't it? What do you think?
Yes, definitely. Because as a marketeer, we are not talking about only advertising and using up all the budget to look really cool for the brand, but actually we measure our campaigns, as well as we have to consider the internal resources and also what kind of objectives the campaigns that we want to meet. For example, we do not only talk about sales, but branding and consumers, loyalty and engagement, as well as convenience to the customers. In Pohkong, we focus a lot about customer service. So customer is our main focus. When we started off this e-commerce, in our mind at the time, we thought we want to showcase some new products for the customers to see. So that was our priority at the time. However, as we continue establishing the e-commerce channels, we realized that customers would like to make some repeat purchase of certain products that they like. Probably they have seen this in store and they like it and they want to repeat purchase something, or they have trust with us and they want to buy something as a gift to someone further. So they actually come online and purchase from us. And sometimes it is also a cross-channel thing where they purchase online for the first time and they like us and they go to the physical store, or both ways as well. Yeah. So it's actually very interesting. Yes.
Correct. So this is like an omni-channel approach which is happening for consumers, because they are getting to experience products offline, and then if they want to buy again, they can choose online because they have already seen the product, have got the experience of it. Because right now, it's from the retail perspective, a lot of brands are also moving on experiential retail outlets. So they're thinking of, yes, this is an outlet which doesn't focus on inventory, but take a feel and then just purchase online. That's something that we've seen with many brands right now. But yes, I'm going to give a quick shout out to some of the people who are watching us right now live. Hey Geeta, it's nice to see you. Hi Arpit. Hi David. Hi Mickey. Hi Gary. Guys, we are unable to display your comments. I'm just going to give you quick hi. Hi Ritika. Hi Lord, David. Cynthia. Hi. Hey Roshni. Hi Sandeep, Anmol, Simon, Keval, Girish. And we have Susarala, Abdul, Girish, Keval. Hey guys, it's lovely to see all of you joining us and so many more. I'm sorry if I'm missing anybody's name out here because we're using our mobile device to access the comments, and that's the best way we can get connected to you and also stay in touch. Guys, I'm going to quickly scroll through and also check if you have questions. I think I have a question for you, Liz. Are you ready to take an audience question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's do it. So Arpit Puri, who's a brand marketing and a digital marketing expert, he says that few questions that I seek from luxury brand on e-commerce perspective. Is jewelry brand marketing using the same funnel of marketing as normal fashion brands? And then the second part of the question is, how high is the CPL, cost per lead, for our audiences in the high ticket size product like jewelry? So let's look at the first part. He's asking whether the funnel, like the marketing, is exactly same like fashion brand, or is it any different?
I do not have expertise in the fashion brands like apparel and so on. I think the funnels of acquiring customers and then go down to getting their loyalty and so on. I think the funnel is probably very similar. It's just the target market could be pretty different because fashion brands, we have different targets as well. As you know, you have young targets who like more rugged style. There are a lot of different styles and segments in fashion brands. I would say that we are very similar because our product offering is also very wide. Because we not only sell gold jewelry, we also sell our in-house brands, exclusive designs, which is differentiated with the common jewelry out there. We also sell investment gold bars and coins. At the same time, we do offer diamond products, gems, and also even higher end products as well. So our target market is really wide. We have ordinary people, average income people, to really high income consumers. So hence, I think what we do is we look at each segment and then we build the strategies from there. Yes.
Correct.
And yeah, I think also a different about funnels is that you have to see how mature is the brand in the market as well. For example, we have so many different product offerings. Some products like gold jewelry, it's actually very mature already in our market because our brand has built on that
credibility.
Expertise. Yes, but there are some products like, for example, high-end products, high-end jewelry products, which we may not be as mature as other brands. So hence, each brand and each product category has its own stage. So we will have to look at, let's say, new brands. We will have to acquire more awareness from the market. And for more mature brands or mature product category, then very much is based on the loyalty and repeat purchase. So that's actually very different strategies towards different product category. Actually, that's how we yeah.
Correct, because I remember when we were also having discussions on the products and everything, every product segment, because the pricing is so different. Some of them are in few hundreds and some of them are in few thousands and even more than that. So we can't have the same strategy, and I'm so glad you exactly mentioned the same thing. I also believe that the next question which Arpit is saying, which is about the CPL, I think I believe you almost got your answer from there as well. It's the CPLs will be so varied when it's come to a product which is daily use, the office use jewelry, and then the gala dinners and events and the high end jewelry when it comes to. So I don't think, Liz, there's a standard pricing, right? Which we can say.
There is no standard. Actually, it's very targeted approach that we use. For example, cost per lead for new brands or higher end products definitely will be much higher than brands that have already got its maturity and garnered its own fans and customers. That's the different. And of course, looking at that, we also, as a brand, we constantly also try to cut costs or maximize our investment. For a lot of loyal customers that we already have, we build our own CRM program so that we can directly engage with them more.
Correct.
And of course, for new customers and new fans, we use social media and of course advertisements to reach to all these communities. So there are many different channels targeting different type of consumers, and actually that's how we do our marketing here. Yes.
Absolutely. And for everyone, guys, if you're like Arpit, I'm not sure from which part of the world you are in from, but let me tell you, Pohkong has a lot of different collections, which has different recognition in the market when it comes to trance and Angun, which are quite established and have been there for years. And there are new collections as well, which is catering to a different market, which is the first, Miss Petite and everything. So every different brand which is inside Pohkong has its own value, audience, and target segment. And I think that's a little bit of similar for the fashion segment as well. But nevertheless, the value size is so different that automatically the funnels become way different on a very narrow segment when you're looking at it, but broadly maybe similar. So that's what Liz has for you, right, Liz?
Yes, that's right.
Absolutely. So Liz, as we go further to this question and discover some advices from you for anybody who want to or is already in this journey, but kind of struggling somewhere or the other, then what is the advice that you'd go? But guys, we will only uncover the advice from Liz after the rapid fire. Liz, are you ready for a rapid fire?
A rapid fire?
Yes. So Liz, that's a surprise element of the show, which is there's a rapid fire where I'm going to ask you a question and it's going to be quick. So let's just say, for example, what's your favorite meal? So you tell us what it is, and then we go to the next question, to the next question, to the next question. So the answers are bite size, maybe 1 or 2 words, or even
right.
like sentence and not more. And it will be fun discovering a little bit more about you.
Okay, sure.
And I'm sure, Liz, I've known you for so long. I'm just thinking that I'm also going to uncover a lot of things about you today.
Yes. Some secrets of me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully not some dark side.
Oh, okay. I hopefully think so. I'll not ask that question. But yes.
Sure.
Guys, let's play the rapid fire.
All right. Yes, let's go.
So the rapid fire, which we are going to play with you, Liz, is from your den, which means that we are going to uncover a little bit by entering your den and finding out what you do, how you do, and what more about you. So let's get started. Top 3 websites that you go on the most, excluding Google and Facebook.
Oh, okay. Top 3 websites.
Yes.
For entertainment, I always go for dramas. So for I think for learning and so on, I like travel a lot. I usually go for traveling websites and see. And I think when it comes to knowledge and so on, I have a passion in metaphysics and things like that, feng shui or something like that. So sometimes I go for all these websites to learn.
Okay, that's interesting. Because you mentioned about drama, so which drama would you tell our audiences to watch right now?
I love Hong Kong dramas. That's for old time's sake. So actually, that's what I watch sometimes. Yeah.
And which one would you tell them to watch? Any name?
I cannot remember the names. I just yeah. The what I love is horror. Actually, I like a lot of things about spirits and things like that.
Paranormal activities.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I used to watch them a lot as a child. Biggest fear that you have already overcome in your life?
I think doing presentation was one of the fear that I had when I was in the schooling time. And I had this fear that every time I go on stage, no matter how, like a 1-inch stage, I've actually have that kind of fear. But as I work in a marketing industry, I cannot have that fear. So I have actually overcome that. Yeah.
Wonderful. Clap, 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 clap.
Yes,
So you
yes,
are with
yes.
us
Thank
live
you.
with the live audience right now. I'm sure you don't have that fear and any more. And guys, if
Yes.
you are as well, let's get inspired from Liz and try and overcome that fear, because she can, right? She could do it. Surely.
I actually built I built a quote for myself when I had that fear a long time ago. I said that if you know what you're actually talking about, then you do not have the fear of presenting it.
Hey, that's nice. So if you know what you're talking about, you do
Yeah.
not have the fear of presenting it, guys. I
Yes,
love
that's
it.
right.
That's my favorite. And one profitable investment that you're super proud of.
I think one profitable investment that I'm super proud of. I think we'll be on the shares when the gold price increase. Pohkong shares actually rise up a lot, and then that is a very profitable investment. And yes, do take note of Pohkong shares as well. We are actually listed in Malaysia, and right now there are a lot of activities over there, and sometimes it gives you really good profit. Yes.
Okay, guys, that's where my money is going now because I was
Investing in gold, yes.
yes, exactly, because the prices have accelerated amazingly well. I was just hoping, I wish I would have invested more.
Yes.
Tell us one book that you would give to your best friend, if at all you're into books.
I think the first book that really inspired me was the Seven Habits of Effective People. That is one of the books that inspire me. There are a lot of books that I really love, but I cannot remember names. I think it's majority successful peoples and their stories, but about skills and how you manage your time. I think Seven Habits is one of the books I love a lot.
Not bad. And Liz, finally, one wish that you would really want to fulfill in this lifetime.
I would like to travel around the world, and actually, that's my major dream as well. Yes.
Okay, we all want to. Let's just hope the pandemic really gets over, everything gets back to normal,
Yes.
and we can travel around the world. But good luck, Liz, with that goal. Thank you so much for being amazing on the rapid fire. You were so candid and authentic and just sharing your journey. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm sure the audiences did. So, guys, don't forget to hit the share button. Everybody got to hear her rapid fire. Liz, so now,
Yes.
as we are just covering, what's that one advice which you would love to give to our audiences when it is about moving towards the e-tail side, or if they're already, what's your advice from the experience you've had?
Definitely coming back from the experience that we had when we embark on this journey. I think it's advisable to get yourself really equipped with the knowledge and from the experts, especially like myself. I actually attend a lot of webinars and seminars to learn from the experts, as they will shorten your journey of going through all the obstacles. They will actually give you the tips on how to go through it. And after learning from them, what you could do is you can start something small at a different steps, but with the bigger vision in mind. So you have a dream, and then you stage it down into different milestones, and then take the very small steps every time, and learn, make mistakes, do not worry about it, overcome, and then get more knowledge and a new trend and new tools to help you. Do not be afraid of investing into some tools, because using that will actually speed up the journey a lot faster.
I
Yes.
100% agree with you, Liz. I mean, that's a beautiful, beautiful advice. One of the important part of the process as a leader of the company is to learn and empower the team as well to be picking up the latest knowledge and the latest technology. And I've seen you always doing this. You're not afraid, and you're not that one of those person who says, oh, I know enough. You're always in the journey of picking up new things and then implementing it in some way or the other, and just finding out, oh, is this good, is this not? So that's something even I have loved it, and I've learned always from you. I believe, guys, one of the biggest advice right now is to really what she mentioned today. Go all out, try, experiment. Do not be afraid of tools, because they help a lot. Trust me, they help a lot. We use so many tools as well internally, and it's like almost cutting down on so many clerical mistakes, errors, and effort which the team goes through, and making their life super easy. So, Liz, with this, of course, I'll take the final question of the day, which is coming from another dear friend, GD Naidu, and he is a digital futurist, and he want to ask you, what's your thought process designing something for the mass market? How do you evolve in product segments?
When we look at the mass market, definitely we need to understand their needs. How we did that is we actually talk very closely with our customer service team and our retail frontliners, because these are the people who face the customers almost every day. So really understanding what the customer wants is the key factor of building a strategy to communicate with them. So we started out knowing some of the customer complaints or feedback to improve. And then using all these little tips that we gather, we built certain features or built certain platforms or systems around it. So when we do marketing as in communications with these customers, we look at what kind of products they like. And from there, we need to match their needs with the products. And talking about mass market here, for Malaysia, wedding, festives, and gift buying for jewelry is actually majority of their life. Yeah. So we understand this is very important for them. So we have to understand the festive, when do they like to buy, what kind of budget they have, who do they buy for. And from there, we understand these behaviors around it. And if we want to show them advertisements, we need to think of where they spend their time now, whether online, reading newspapers, magazines, or going on social media. Where are the touch points of all these segments of markets go to? And from there, we look at our internal resources, how much budget we have, and which channel should we focus to get the most out of it. And that's actually the process. Actually, it's quite a logical process. I think everyone has some market sense of it. It's like you do not think too complicated out of it. You just simplify the thought process and one step at a time. And then you can build a strategy that if you believe in that strategy, that it will really works. And of course, you need to measure the outcome of it. So our thought processes is usually like this. And I think communication internally with the frontliners is also the key of understanding the customers. Yes.
100%, Liz. I love that. And I think, GD, you got your answer. Consumer insights is one of the core things that gives, of course, Pohkong, and as Liz mentioned, a lot of data points to be able to do everything that you mentioned when it's about mass market and product segmentations. And I think, Liz, it was amazing to have you, isn't it, Anil?
Thank you.
You're on mute.
Yes, of course, Liz. So much to take. And the best part was, which you talked about, something very, very interesting, which has got into my head very clearly, which I'm going to talk about also in future, is about when you know what you're talking about, then you don't have to fear about it. I love that line. I really love that line, Liz. And I think I want to take that back as an insight for me and my 60 seconds post. Thank you, and so wonderful to come here and listen all your insights.
Thank you,
Yes.
Anil. Thank you, Kush. Thank you very much.
For being with us on the show. Hey guys, do connect with her on LinkedIn and to really ask any questions regarding when it comes to e-tail to retail, right? Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Liz.
Okay, Anil. So are we ready with our next guest?
No, we are not ready with our next guest. Well, I'm just kidding, Kush. We, of course, are ready with our next guest. But before that, I wanted to kind of quickly chat with you because since we're talking on a subject which is retail to e-tail, and both, if I would say, is it retail or is it e-tail? I think brands are doing their best to give a fantastic customer experience. I've been always an e-tail guy. I've been always sharing a lot of stories with you. I started online shopping way back in 2001 too, when HTTPS wasn't discovered. Okay, I used to do, and people used to find me a moron saying, "How can you shop on such with your credit cards and everything?" But I always went and experienced that. And as the time has passed by, with digital inventions coming in, acceleration coming in, I think the customer experience has become such a great key for
Right.
both retail as well as e-tail. Today, now when I go to an Amazon or when I go to a Lazada, Shopee, the great experience which they get, they use AI to understand my behavior, what I have done. And I thought with that note, if you can share with our audiences one beautiful video which we both have gone through about the Brussels Airlines on the customer experience. Do you think it's worth sharing that video with them?
Sure, why not, Anil? Let's do it. A
Let's do
version of
it
it,
on the customer experience.
because I think we are ready to pay extra dollars for
Yes.
that experience, which makes a brand memorable. And I saw Liz almost every single time harping on the value that Pohkong puts out towards the consumers and just making sure that they feel right about the brand. And I think that's one of the biggest reason of their success, because not just being known, but being known for everything good is a challenge for any brand out here. So let's share it, Anil. I would love for our audience to see what customer service can make someone feel. I think we had goosebumps and kind of
Goosebumps during that. The video one, which was there. There's a sequel to this video also. We played in some show of our Linkedpreneur stories.
No, Anil, let's do that. So, guys, hold up till the end, and we're going to play the sequel at the end. So, this video has a sequel. So, video one goes right here, right now, playing it. One.
Good afternoon, SL 146 is ready to taxi.
Mr. Smith boarded? Just a minute, I'll just check for you. He's just boarded.
Okay, go, go, go! Mr. Smith, can you look outside? There's a message for you. Yes!
Oh, I still have the goosebumps, Kush. Every time I watch this video, I always get the goosebumps. Though I never get with the sequel, but we will see the sequel also very soon with our lovely tribe and the community. But yes,
Absolutely, Anil. I hope, guys, you enjoyed the video. And if you want to get all of these exciting segments and details, do not forget to share this video, guys. Do not forget to share this video. It's the most important thing. Go ahead, Anil.
no, and I'm also wanted to kind of do a quick shout out, a selfish shout out to us. We share a lot of these videos and a lot of excitement in our B2B conversations when we do with our clients and the brands. We do a lot of coaching on the LinkedIn, the branding, and the sales side, and we share this very nice intellectual, funny, motivational videos during our sessions, which is a mix of live and recording. So, guys, anybody of you, if you're interested for any coaching on LinkedIn, branding, and sales for your organizations, do reach out to us on Grow with Salt and Pepper.
So
What's it called?
I think that's the sales expertise coming out, Anil. You can't leave an opportunity, and that's amazing. I love that about you, I have to say. Indeed, people need people like you. I simply love it. That's amazing. That's amazing and amazing. So, Anil, are we ready with our next guest?
Yes, we are ready with the next guest. And how can we not call him? Because he's a very, very close and a dear friend of me. He has close to a decade experience of sales and marketing in FMCG and e-commerce industries across India and Southeast Asia geographies. Having worked for companies like Procter& Gamble, Paytm back in India, Abbott, and Lazada, the Alibaba Group company, during his customer or career journey. He has extensive experience across both established brands and even startup ecosystems. His experience has covered domains like FMCG sales, marketing, e commerce, category management, and channel strategy. And let's welcome Ashutosh Kaushik, the Vice President, Digital Services at SingPost E-commerce. And he's enabling the global and the regional brands to weave their success stories on e-commerce. Hey, welcome, Ash. And he's popularly known as Ash.
Absolutely.
Hi. Thanks, Anil. Hi, Pushbu. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we could hear you loud and clear.
Yes.
Thank you, Anil, for that wonderful introduction. So, hey, Ash, welcome to Linkedpreneur Stories.
My pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you with us. Of course, that was a beautiful introduction that Anil already shared about you. But before that, we're talking about retail. We're talking about going to e-tail. And SingPost, isn't it a courier company, inventory management company, warehouse? I mean, I'm wondering, am I right, Ash, or there's something else hiding behind that as well? Do you want to tell us?
Yes, absolutely, Khushbu. So yes, I mean, when you hear about SingPost, obviously the first thing that might come to your mind is postal services, cross-border courier, logistics, warehousing, and that's true because we are a 160-year-old company, and we have really developed an expertise in that part of the business. And I mean, that's a core business at the end of the day, and we have built a legacy around that, and super successful legacy, if I can say that. Today, I believe, I mean, the more and more parcels that are being handled in Southeast Asia, I believe most of them go through SingPost at the end of the day. I'm sure all of us have used SingPost some way or the other in our lives. But having said that, that's where, I mean, in 2012, SingPost also decided to venture into the e-commerce journey. And that's where SingPost e-commerce was launched. And that's where we took, while we understood the whole market dynamics with respect to logistics and e-commerce becoming a more and more important part of that, I think in 2012, SingPost decided to bet on e-commerce as the business of the future. And that is where, as I said, this business unit of SingPost e-commerce was launched. And that's where we have been partnering with some of the leading global brands to help them into their e-commerce journey in APAC. And to name these brands, these are leading brands across consumer lifestyle, outdoor sports, luxury fashion, across these categories. And over our journey of from 2012 onwards, when even the Lazadas and Shoppies of the world were at a very nascent stage in this geography, it was SingPost that took that initiative to partner with some of these leading brands, to name a few, like Adidas, Calvin Klein, Timberland, Vans, Puma. So we have been working with a lot of these leading brands across the board to help them in terms of their e-commerce strategy and helping them launch an e-commerce business in APAC. So whether it is helping them design or develop their website, manage or maintain that website, provide the right infrastructure to run those websites, do all the troubleshooting or maintain all the operations, to the other aspects of demand generation, where we also offer services like marketing, CRM, creative services like graphic design, photography, digital operations. And then, of course, to marry it to our core expertise, which is at the end of the day, the warehousing, logistics, last mile, cross-border delivery solutions, etc. So it's out and out. It's a complete package. It's a 360-degree e-commerce enablement solution that we offer, where we have not just leveraged our original core competency of warehousing and logistics and shipments, but at the same time develop this expertise of managing the digital side of things. And that's where we offer the e-commerce enablement services to our partner brands.
Oh, that's amazing. Oh my God, that's from A to Z, almost everything that a person can think of when it comes to an e-commerce brand. And I am sure many of us are here who are still thinking it's an inventory brand. But thanks to you, you've clarified the doubt, and I'm sure starting from today they will not think SingPost to just be an inventory or postal services, but a lot beyond that. But of course, as we are getting into it and you are catering to so many brands, I've already mentioned, what are the trends? What are the trends like right now when it is for brands to move into the e-tail space, which is the e-commerce space? Where do you see it going for 2021? What are the key things?
Absolutely. And I think not just the ongoing digital trends, but I believe the COVID pandemic has played such an important role in terms of accelerating the whole digital adoption, accelerating the whole e-commerce transformation. And if I may refer to a very interesting study that was conducted by Facebook and Bain last year, and they called it 5 years of digital transformation in one single year, which was 2020. So 2020 emerged as the epochal year, as we call it, in terms of accelerating all these digital transformations, and some very interesting trends emerge. So to name a few, especially when we talk about data points, so it's estimated that the e-commerce, the kind of boost that e-commerce as an industry got, the average spending per individual when it comes to Southeast Asia, if we can take the example of our geography here, is almost going to increase by 3.5 times from 2020 to 2025, which in itself is a huge shift. And this actually leads to the overall increase in the size of e-commerce industry in the region from almost $50 billion today to almost $150 billion in 2025, which in itself is a phenomenal jump, primarily driven by the fact that there has been such a big shift in terms of people moving online. And in fact, I was reading some other parts of this report, which stated that almost 50% more people started shopping online during this whole course of pandemic. And the best part is that a lot of these people are here to stay. They're not going to go back to their earlier ways and means of shopping. So that's more on the quantitative aspects or the data aspects. But from a qualitative side as well, I'm sure that all of us have anecdotally experienced, as well as we have seen the trends around us, whether it's shopping for categories like grocery, whether it is shopping for categories which are more essentials based. I think they all shifted online. I guess there has been a proliferation of importance of health as a category, especially when it comes to e-commerce. More and more people are investing in buying products which are meant to kind of boost their immunity or drive health and wellness. And then at the same time, again, as a part of, if I may quote the same Facebook Bain report, there has been a big surge in consumer perception or demand for brands which are more value-driven, which are more reliable in nature. And the value for money as a proposition for shoppers has also increased leaps and bounds. Lastly, driven by the fact that when it comes to, we all know that how logistics is the backbone of servicing any e-commerce order. I mean, on the one hand, you can do everything digital, which is to get the demand in place, but then it's just the half the battle won. You have to make sure that it is fulfilled. And that's where I think a very significant part of demand fulfillment was also driven by contactless last year. And I think contactless is a trend which is here to stay. Lot of, I think almost all the e-commerce retailers and last mile delivery partners adopted this approach of contactless, where you don't have to physically come in contact with the delivery person to get your parcel received as a consumer. And then this trend is again there to stay. So I think these are some very, I would say, very top level quantitative and qualitative trends that the COVID pandemic in particular has kind of driven, and which has led to a lot of brands today kind of riding on these insights and then coming up with their strategies. And again, at SingPost e-commerce, our core job is to kind of provide these relevant insights to our partner brands and SMEs and make sure that they maximize the opportunity that the COVID pandemic has entailed.
Absolutely. I think, Ash, I kind of agree to this, because it's about these data that shows that the entire movement is happening towards the buyer point of view, where they are buying online. And if you're not online, you are facing probable situations, huge brands like Microsoft and others who have almost closed down their outlets, right? They're not even having the outlets anymore, because they see that not only they're saving cost, but the revenues are also going up. So there's a huge difference. The margin between the top line and the bottom line has increased to a great extent because of the movement from retail to e-tail. uh, I have to touch upon a point when it comes to all of this. Given the amount of experience that you have, I know you were with Lazada previously, and then of course you have worked with a lot more brands on the FMCG and the e-commerce side of it. Uh, Ashutosh, tell me something. One of the core challenges with the retail, which they psychologically might have, is how to go with an omni-channel approach. Because they always feel like, okay, I have an outlet, now I have to maintain an e-commerce. It's like a two different outlets for me, and how will I ever get them to marry? And for our audiences out here, when I say omni-channel, guys, just to explain the terminology, it's very simple. It's just about when a consumer experience your brand, it just feels that it's same across, whether it is online, whether it's offline, or anywhere on the social media platform. And in a simple word, it's just the experience side which doesn't make them feel any different. So as we get Ashutosh, or Ash, in other words, to tell us what his thoughts are when it comes to omnichannel. Before that, guys, do not miss out to share this video. And I have to remind you, even Ashutosh is here to answer some of your audience's questions. So guys, do tell us in the comment section what exactly would you like to ask him, given the amount of experience he has and the association at the moment he has with SingPost as well. So Ashutosh, tell us what's
Sure.
the channel side of it.
Sure, Kulbu. So let me try and break it down into the whole consumer funnel. And I heard one of those questions even in Liz's session, right? Just previously talking about the whole buying funnel or marketing funnel. So let's try and drill it down into the different stages of shopper journey, which is from awareness to engagement to consideration to purchase to loyalty. So let's look at this overall phase or different stages. Now, what used to happen not so long back, right, when we did not really talk about this term called omni-channel. So the shopper journey used to be pretty linear and pretty straightforward. So let's say you're talking about the awareness phase. So you could see an ad on your TV or on a billboard. You could just go and engage with the product in the nearest store. You could just visit the shelf. You could compare the different items. You could enter certain items in your consideration set. And then depending on the pricing, promotions, or any affinity to the brand ambassador that you felt who endorsed these products, you would eventually make the decision to buy the product inside the store. And then you could have come back and spoken to your friends, relatives, families, and you could have been very happy about the product, or you could have been you could have shared your frustration about the product. So it was a very linear journey, primarily in the offline world that used to happen. But now, fast forward with all these emerging digital trends, like there's a greatest proliferation of smartphones today, great availability of internet, fast speeds, cheap availability of technology, a big proliferation of technology like live streaming, and today we are talking on live streaming at the end of the day. So excess of influencers or key opinion leaders on live streaming today.
I have to agree. That's a huge market, the live commerce side of it, and the KOL, which is the influencer side of it, and they're driving so much of commerce to the entire e-commerce business.
Exactly. So exactly. So that is the point. So today, what happens is today's user or shopper can easily come and get aware about a product on his or her smartphone screen. And I would not even call it click of a button. I'll call it touch of a screen, because that's how the times have changed today. So you can interact with the product on your phone. You can again decide to go to your nearest store to touch and feel the product. But again, you don't have to make the purchase there. You can very well scan a QR code in the store, which can again land you back to their website. You can again compare the offers which are running in the store or on the .com or on the app or on the marketplace. So depending on, there are so many avenues for you to kind of make that purchase. And then you can very well come back to your home, sit in the comfort of your room, and then make the purchase. And then again, for driving loyalty towards this particular product, or whether you are an advocate or whether you are someone who's critical about the product, there are so many avenues available to you today. You can shoot an email to the brand, you can shoot out a post on social media, or you can even talk about it word of mouth to your friends and families. So in the nutshell, what has happened is that the journey, the consumer journey, the shopping journey is no longer linear. It's multidimensional, and it's completely based on different permutations and combinations depending on where the shopper is and how and where they interact with the different touch points with respect to their buying journey. So as marketeers or as brands or as retailers, I think our biggest takeaway is that no longer a siloed strategy between offline and online will be applicable anymore or will be successful anymore, because the shopper doesn't behave like that. Shopper intermixes the offline and online worlds, and hence our strategies have to be interlinked going forward. And the brands who are obviously more, I would say, adaptable to this way of thinking, who are ahead of the curve, I think they're the ones who have been very successful in carving out omni-channel strategies. And very simple examples we can see during the COVID pandemic itself. Like there were some retailers who came up with these concepts of order online and pick up in store.
Yes,
So
cash on delivery.
Exactly. It could be click and collect. So, I mean, these were so many, the retailers who were ahead of the curve, who really understood the buying pattern or the shopping journey of their shoppers, were actually able to implement these innovations in place. And hence this led to, I would say, a more successful management of the pandemic versus certain brands or retailers who did not have an online strategy and who were completely kind of stumped when this pandemic hit us, and when lockdowns and MCOs and circuit breakers were introduced in different parts of the world. So yes, I mean, just to summarize this whole conversation, I guess as brands and marketeers, we need to be present at each and every touch point where our consumer passes through on his or her way to the purchase and loyalty, and how we can basically create that clutter-breaking message for our consumers to be relevant to them and make them or inspire them to take the right decision that we want them to take in the favor of our service or product or brand.
Absolutely, Ash. I think that's so bang on. And with this, it's time for a rapid fire. Are you excited for it?
Wow. Okay, that's interesting.
Yes, we're gonna have a rapid fire where we're gonna put you two choices, and you're gonna tell us which choice do you relate with the most. Let's just say, for example, I'm gonna say day or night, and which part of the entire 24 hours do you relate with or enjoy the most is what you're going to take a choice. Is that cool?
Okay. Yeah, that's cool.
Okay, let's do it. So it's time for a rapid fire. So a head or a tail round, which is, guys in the audiences, it's time. If you know the drill, why don't you guys join us as well and pick answers for Ashutosh in the comment section. I'm going to watch your comments on my mobile and make sure that do make some announcements. So in the comment section, tell us what Ashutosh will pick. He's not going to find out unless I tell him. So you can just show the answers immediately.
And Kulbu, do I need to justify my answer, or it's just a one-word answer?
Just one-word answer. So you can just go all out and just make a choice between the two. All ready?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Podcasts or books?
Podcast.
Friends or family?
Family.
Branding, marketing or sales?
Marketing.
Strength or weakness?
Strength.
Courage or fear?
Courage.
Being this is a hard one. Being a father or a husband. So Ash just turned a father, 6-month-old little handsome boy. So I'm going to put him in a catch-22 situation. I hear him just now. So yes, tell us, Ash, which one is it? A father or a husband?
I guess being a father will be a subset of being a husband first. So I'll go for being a husband.
Oh, Ash, I love you for that. You know, not many people have selected that. Most of them have gone with the other ones. I really like that. What would you pick, speed or scale?
I would pick scale.
Passion or purpose?
Passion.
Fame or fortune?
Fame.
2020 or 2021?
Wow, that's a big one. I guess 2021, future.
Home cooked meal or meal outside at the mamaks and the restaurants?
As much as I want to say, I'll be honest here. Meal outside restaurants.
My wife is not listening. No, but yeah, I do get that. And my final question of the day would be: Netflix or travel?
Travel any day.
Oh yes, I think the lack of traveling is kind of making us miss travel more. But yes, of course, you were amazing on the rapid fire, I should say. And that was the wrap I hope, guys, you all enjoyed it. I hope, Ash, you enjoyed it.
Absolutely, yeah, interesting.
Lovely, lovely. So, as getting back to where we were, guys, let's take a quick check. It's time for questions as well. You can bring it up for your questions. What you have for Ash till then, I want to ask you one thing. You have spoken to so many brands and helping them. What are the biggest challenges that they come through? I mean, what are the top challenges which you can list? Maybe one or two?
Yes, so I guess I'll probably structure this response in two categories. So obviously the brands which are very well established have different set of challenges versus the brands who are very nascent in their e-commerce journey. And when I say established in the e-commerce journey, so let's talk about the brands who are nascent, who are, I mean, who are just embarking on the e-commerce journey or just trying to find their feet when it comes to the online space. So I guess basic challenges like getting the right investments, getting the right management buy-in for putting in a dedicated team. Often what we find such brands is either their existing offline teams, whether the sales team or the marketing teams, they start running the e-commerce, but they don't get the right investments or the management blessings to kind of hire very dedicated resources, because it's understandable they don't I mean, they haven't had a successful proof of concept of e-commerce in their organization. And then this obviously goes back to all the budgets that kind of come in, whether they want to invest on trade promotions, whether they want to invest in marketing promotions, etc., marketing or even awareness building, etc. So I guess that's where it's always a tussle. So for such brands, it's always a chicken egg story, right? So it's basically whether, I mean, you are, when do you see the impact of your business? When I see the impact of the business, only then I will invest. Versus, I mean, if I won't invest, I won't see the impact of the business. So I think that's a challenge, or there's a barrier that needs to be broken with brands who are new and who are just trying to make it establish their feet in the e-commerce domain, versus the second set of brands which are very well established, which already have had a successful e-commerce journey. I think for them it's more about scaling up. The biggest challenge that they then face is how much of a offline contribution should then come, I mean, of their overall retail contribution should then come from online versus offline. So then bifurcating budgets from offline to online, that becomes a challenge. How do they transition from the siloed mindset of offline and online working separately to now a more omni-channel kind of way of working? How do you bring that internal cultural shift? So I think those are some of the challenges that we see. And I think at that stage, the expectations from such brands to deliver on e-commerce goals is substantially higher. So then building a dedicated e-commerce team, assuming that they already have a dedicated e-commerce team, then how do they deliver those 50%, 100% growth year on year? I guess that becomes a big challenge for very established brands. And then, of course, for them, because they have those big expectations internally within the organization. So obviously, lapses are a bit more exposed for such brands. If they struggle on their traffic, if they struggle on their conversions, if they struggle on their assortment levels, etc., all these things are very well highlighted, and there's a lot of visibility of what e-commerce does in the entire organization. So I guess they really have to be successful in what they do. So I guess that pressure of performance also plays a big role for such brands. So yeah, I guess these are the two big different challenges that I foresee working with different type of brands.
Absolutely, I think these are the challenges, and you don't see money immediately whenever you're going online. You know, you have to be fair, you have to be patient and consistent with going online. There's large amount of collaboration which is involved, whether it is with the KOL influencers or even whether it is with partnerships of the marketplaces and other brand investments that is involved. I think as we are almost getting to the end of today's conversation, which is about retail to e-tail, I have to ask you, Ashutosh, what's that one piece of marketing advice specifically that you would like to give to our audience when it is to do with the journey?
Yes. So I guess, I mean, if you're just starting onto your e-commerce journey and you are fairly new onto the channel, I guess it's very important to understand how much forward investing you want to do onto this channel. I would definitely urge everyone to kind of look at e-commerce from a long term. It's not a stopgap. It's not a short term tactical channel to kind of help you achieve your targets. I mean, that's not how we should perceive e-commerce as. But I think it's a channel where your future consumers are going to be. China already has almost 50% of their sales happening on the e-commerce channel. So it's definitely successful case study across the globe, and it is here to stay. So that's how we have to treat e-commerce in that sense. So I guess having that mindset and patience, as even Khushbu mentioned that just a short while back, having that patience or mindset of forward investing, you might not see the ROAS from day one, or ROI from day one, but it will only be a period of time. But then you have to structure your journey in terms of what are your next 3 months goals, what are your next 6 months goals, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, etc. So I guess if I can just kind of structure it in a certain fashion, so the first and the most important thing would be to have a KPI, have a goal. Why do you want to get into e-commerce? What is that problem that you're trying to solve? Are you trying to reduce dependence on the offline retail? Are you trying to achieve a certain market share? Are you trying to achieve a certain ROI? Is it a certain customer lifetime value that you're willing to track? So what are those specific KPIs that you want to put in as a part of your business goals? That's your step one. And then, of course, you have to back it up with the right investment. So building the right team, putting in the right marketing and trade promotions, setting the right infrastructure, building the right capabilities. That's extremely critical for you to build a business for the long term. And then the third step here would be to also be honest with yourself, because not everything you can do in-house from day one. Not everything you will have core competence on from day one. So that's where identifying the right partners in the ecosystem is extremely critical. So for example, let's say you want to develop your website, you want to develop your app. You might not have the right technological resources in-house to do that. So can you partner with the right technological vendor who can do it for you? Likewise, you might not have expertise in terms of doing e-commerce marketing from day one. Then do you want to target the right agency for that? Do you want to partner with the right CRM platform for that if you have to run a strong CRM strategy? So it's identifying all these right core competencies among yourselves and in the ecosystem, and then deciding what you want to do yourself, where you want to invest, where you want to partner. And if you get these basics right, and of course, I mean, these are just certain directions, but most importantly, get your stock assortment, get your overall business fundamentals right, get your supply chain right, get your warehousing right. I guess, I mean, these are some very important things to not just generate demand, but also fulfill demand when you talk about the e-commerce landscape.
Wonderful, Ashutosh. I think that would really add value here, because it gives them a really broader picture, or I would say a lighthouse picture of what exactly they can touch upon, and anybody on any different phase will be able to get something out of what exactly you shared today. So with this, it's time for us. Hey, Ashutosh, thank you so much for being with us. Welcome back, Anil.
Thank you so much.
Super.
I have a question for Ashutosh.
Go ahead, Anil.
So I was in e-tail, and you were the keynote speaker for e-tail Asia, which just concluded yesterday. And I've been hearing a lot of sessions across brands, and a common topic which was coming up was AI. So today we've been hearing AI for the last 4 to 5 years, but and depending on industry or a domain, it is taking some time. But what, according to you, how is AI going to impact in e-commerce? Because I'll tell you a classic case. I was reading an article from Amazon, from someone in US retail store. They are kind of using, so suppose, for example, Khush walks in a retail store and there are cameras kept all over. And suddenly while Khush is walking in the corridors of the retail store, the camera captures the facial recognition of Khush and the whole stats come into picture. And then somebody, a customer service executive with his handle, looks at all that information, walks up to Khush and says, "Hey ma'am, how are you doing? Well, thanks for coming after 3 weeks. And how was your last purchase and how are things? Do you want to go to the same section because last time you purchased this and this?" So I'm saying, one, being a tech geek, I feel that's really very exciting. But also as a consumer myself, I feel sometimes this is a little strenuous or it is scary, because just with the facial recognition, the amount of data which goes back. So what do you think? How's AI's role in the whole of e-commerce which is going to play?
Yes, absolutely, Anil. I think the point that you stressed on is about personalization, right? So definitely there's a thin line between how relevant the messaging you're making to your consumer via personalization versus how intrusive you are getting. So I guess I think that's a balance that the brands or retailers or even technology providers need to strike. But to your point, I guess, especially when we talk about e-commerce, I guess personalization is something that has very rapidly evolved. And in fact, I was reading one of these data points recently I came across. So it's estimated that almost 88% shoppers prefer to visit those platforms which provide them a personalized experience. And today, if you look at all the leading retailers or e-retailers, for example, you log into Amazon or Lazada, Shopee, what you'll observe is that your homepage or the products that are being advertised to you or shown to you, displayed to you, are very different than mine. And that depends on exactly what has been your last 30 days interaction with that app. What are the things that you have purchased, or what are the things that you have maybe added to your cart or interacted with or clicked before. So that makes it very relevant and makes it very intuitive for me as a user to kind of log in and get a very, I would say, a special treatment or a very personalized treatment there. So I guess that's one part of AI. But then there are also the very interesting innovative solutions that are coming, which might be more relevant to the different categories in which different brands operate. For example, let's say you're a makeup brand and there's this product called the magic mirror or the virtual try on.
Yes,
You
yes.
can actually try the shades of the lipsticks online. It's so relevant in the days that you can't go to a retail store and make that purchase offline. But then you can make that purchase.
Also taking in a huge role in this.
Right. So it depends on, as a brand, as a category, what's relevant for you, what will be a differentiator for you. Again, it should not just be done for the sake of it. I mean, you have to weigh the pros and cons. But then if you really feel it's an innovation you want to bet on for the long term and it will differentiate you versus your competition, I guess, I mean, that's a bet that the brands or retailers should be willing to take.
I agree with you because I think one more interesting point, and a lot of people appreciate this. I hope it comes in soon. When you walk into a retail store, and when assuming you're buying some garments, and we all know that trial rooms are normally always occupied because there are too many people. Not in the current scenario now, but yeah, I'm saying. So they've come up with something very unique point where there's a like the way you say there's a magic mirror. So there's a nice mirror which takes about 10,000 plus body points. They call it, not data points. They take every aspect of your body point. Just take the cloth, keep it in front of you, and they will actually show you. Okay, how are you looking at that? You really don't need to go to a trial room to kind of undress and dress. So that's time. So if that's a customer experience which you can give, save that time. I think those personalizations are always welcome.
Absolutely, Anil.
Super. Thank you so much, Ashutosh, for being with us on Linkpreneur Story. It was wonderful to get your insights on how to go e-commerce.
Thank you, Khushbu, Anil. Thank you for calling me here. It was a pleasure interacting with you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ash. Thanks for coming and accepting the invite.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So, Anil, and that was a wonderful wrap to today's episode when it is about all going to e-commerce, an interesting topic and something that really in this given point of time, it has been adapted by a lot of people, whether it is homegrown or established businesses for years. Isn't it, Anil? And it was exciting to have both of them.
Seriously, it was so exciting. And that's one of my favorite subjects. You know that. That's my stress buster, shopping online.
Oh yes, of course. I think you are a shopping freak. Being a female, I can say that for you for sure. That's something that's not my interest at all. But yes, guys, thank you so much for joining us on Linkpreneur Stories. Less is more to catch on such amazing segments. Our next episode is going to have an interesting guest. Stay tuned to our update. We are going to make an announcement very soon next week. And some more new updates are going to come your way from us. Get excited, guys. And if you want to get updated about this even before anybody else does, join our tribe.linkpreneur.com, and the link will be right here. Also, in the comment section, guys, join the tribe right now to get all the updates, what's happening. And with this, it's time for us to wrap. But before that,
I'm getting so many messages on my screen, Khush, on my mobile. People are asking, where is the sequel? You promised us to show the sequel. How can you let them go without the sequel?
Absolutely. That's what I was coming to. But before that, Anil, a piece. If I have to give you 30 seconds, what piece of advice would you give people from e-tail to retail or retail to e-tail?
Yeah, so from retail to retail, I've seen that experience. I've seen that experience myself. And there's one piece of advice which I would like to give. Don't always expect the same experience of a retail to e-tail, because the whole thing has transitioned. Like similarly, it's an offline to online. Okay, so if you start comparing always that, oh, I had a great experience there. Okay, there was somebody at my footstep, somebody used to come and help me and support me. So even in online, there are many ways where a lot of brands are trying to put those impetus and get those customer success, the chatbots, trying to help you in some way or the other. So we need to give them that freedom also to kind of share. So sometimes when we are transitioning, when the brands are transitioning, we also need to transition our mindset. And I think that's very critical. You can't always expect the same what you were seeing in the offline world, in the online world. There will be some transitions for the good, but it saves a lot of other things like energy, time, effort. So please accept it. Please accept the change.
I think that's lovely for the buyer point of view. And I have a good input to add to what exactly Anil said from the seller point of view. Just don't try to think too creative and jump into everything that you're hearing across. Even to use social media platforms like Facebook, Instagram to sell out your product, to just have the early testing happen whether the product has an acceptability in the market, is also an amazing way to get started on your journey at the bare minimum possible. And once you get the taste of blood, then you can just go all out, roll into the marketplaces, and finally rolling out your own e-commerce. That is in that way you can manage your resources and capitals in the best way possible. So with this, it's time for the sequel. Stay tuned, guys, and you are going to catch up. And this sequel was something that almost brought tears in our eyes. So do watch it, and we'll see you in the next episode of
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. Here you are. Have a nice flight.
Thank you.
Okay, go, go, go!
Yeah, I found them. They are the EP54.
Welcome on board on your flight SN501. We are fully ready for departure and enjoy your flight. Mr. Smith Jr., can you look outside, please? There's a surprise for you.
Brussels Airlines. We go the extra mile.
That's it, guys. That's the value of the consumer experience which a brand can bring in, and it's all about thinking out of the box.
Bring that extra smile.
I love that, Anil. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Linkedpreneur Stories, where we were covering so much about the e-commerce space. The next one is going to be more about a founder's journey and a lot more. So, guys, stay excited, stay tuned. Thank you for all the love that you have showed in the past 1 year to us. We need more. We have to say that. So don't forget to share this video with your friends, family, colleague, bosses, and as well as everybody possible. So thank you. Till then, stay excited. It's a Saturday. Enjoy yourself. Stay home. Stay safe.
Stay home, stay safe, stay indoors. Take care.
Rise and shine.
Woo!